Fantastic. Hope it goes well. Who have we
Thank
got
you.
here? We've got Lena. Nice to see you, Lena. And Jason Mountjoy looks like he's changed his name to Mike Legasic, which is fair enough. Goja's come back for more. Glutton for
Yeah.
Punishment. Nice to see you as well. Who else we got here? We got Ryan. We got Jamie. We got Dermot. There's Bill. Nice to see you, Bill. Good to see you there. And various note takers as well. Fantastic. So good turnout today. Thank you very much, everybody. The idea today is nice and informal. There's no grand presentation, although I've got one or two slides just to kind of set the scene for a few people here as well. I have form for arranging meetings the day after big polling days. The last time I did this was the day of the Brexit announcement that we were all out, and we were doing a presentation skills day, and we spent most of the morning just watching the TV. Everybody trying to figure out what's going on. So we could do that. We could switch over to the BBC or your broadcaster of choice, and we could see what's going on in the United States. But it is what it is, and I guess we have to just get on with it. There are big things going on in the world, and I think it's kind of appropriate that we talk about something that is actually quite a big thing, namely AI. So no grand presentation, there's no particular theme, although a theme may emerge. We'll see what happens today, and we'll take what we've learned from today, and when we do the next one, if we need to bring in a theme or something else, we'll do that as well. So thanks very much for joining me. We've got one or two still coming in. It might be a good idea to mute your microphones if you can, unless anybody wants to say anything straight away. So let me just quickly dive into a couple of slides so that we can see some aspect of what's going on. So just bear with me again. Right, fantastic. So I've just thought, literally random thought one evening. I thought there's so many people talking about AI in the main Life Talk group and in our AI group as well. And there's a lot of talk in our advisor growth community as well about AI. Why don't we just have a bit of a get together, see what's going on? One thing let's recommend this right at the front. If you have not yet heard of Ian McKenna's AI conference, Ian McKenna as of FTRC, highly recommend that. I know, Mike, you've been to that as well, and a couple of others have been to if AI is even remotely of interest to you in your business and how you're going to use it going forward, either for the benefit of your business or for the benefit of your clients, Ian's conference is an absolute must attend to go and see. So, what have we got? Slide won't change, so let's see how we go. Bear with me. Right. Okay. So briefly, for those that I've not met before, I'm the person behind Life Talk, the Facebook group. We've also got a group on LinkedIn as well. We've got about 15,000 financial advisors and paraplanners and industry professionals right across Life Talk these days. And that's been going about 20 years, 17 years on Facebook. Great deal of conversation going on in there. But coming up to a year of having the advisor growth community, which are a brand new community, which are set up beginning of this year. It's a little bit different. It doesn't have an algorithm like Facebook does, so you kind of decide what you want to see. It's much easier to find particular topics because everything's categorized. I'll give you a link to that later if that's something of interest. I've always been fascinated by technology across this profession, across this industry. I've written a couple of books about AI. The one on the left really is about adopting AI and implementing it into your financial advice business. And the one on the right only came out a few days ago, is really where I see as the big picture for AI. We will probably be talking today about day-to-day use of AI, but I think we are barely even scratching the surface with what's possible and how we can use it. And that's what that particular one is about. I'm just trying to move you out of the way so I can change slides. There we go. I've also created an AI financial advisor, which might sound annoying, but that's what I've done because I wanted to see if it was possible to do. It's called Advisor AI, and we've got a number of financial advisors who are kicking this thing around. Let's say up front, it does not give financial advice. It can do, but I've made sure that it doesn't. It won't give financial advice because I think that would probably be illegal, apart from anything else. And we've got another one just joining us. But I think I wanted to do this just to see if it was possible to create something like this. And initially, what it does is use it as a tool for it sits on your website, or it can sit on your LinkedIn profile, or it can sit in a QR code on your business card. It can sit wherever you want it to sit. And the idea is that it engages with your website visitors and simply answers like those FAQs that people might typically ask you anyway. And I use the example of the budget that we've just had, in that 5 minutes after the budget had finished and the full budget statement was out, I had trained this AI on all the contents of the budget. And hypothetically, if you had something like this sitting on your website, those people who are just looking for the sort of instant insights into what's been going on in the budget could actually ask questions and get accurate answers as well. Where I'm going with this is I think in time, and although AI is moving at an incredibly fast pace at the moment, I think in time, a great many financial advisors will include a tool like this as part of their proposition. It'll start as initially a lead gen tool so that people can ask basic questions like what are your office hours, or what areas do you help people to, and how many advisors have you got, and what are their qualifications, and that kind of stuff as well. But I think in time, more and more advisors will actually want to create, for want of a better word, clones of themselves that can act in a variety of different ways. Now, I guess the FCA has got to get their head around this in terms of regulation and use of AI, but I think financial advisors will be way ahead of the FCA in terms of how we use this. But I built this thing just to see if it was possible to do. If anybody wants to have a play around with it, I'm more than happy to send them a link to it later on. So, again, oh yes, and I think also another way that a tool like this could be used is for internally. And depends on the size of your business. And if you've got, a number of people in your business, you could potentially create an AI that is trained on your internal processes, maybe your compliance processes, operational procedures, that kind of thing as well. So that perhaps when a new member of staff joins you, they could just simply refer to your AI to get information on particular processes or things that they would need to know. So a tool like this doesn't necessarily have to be used to be outward facing to the world. You could also use it internally as well. And I think it could be quite useful for training and so on and so forth. And I'll show you an example of something in a minute or two before we sort of open up the conversation. When it comes to AI, I think there are a couple of dangers. One is assuming it's coming in the future. There's still quite a few financial advisors that are saying, yeah, we'll when AI arrives in a couple of years' time, we'll start taking notice of it. And I think for probably everybody on this call, we all know perfectly well that AI is not coming in a couple of years' time. It's already been here for a couple of years, and we kind of ignore it at our peril. We keep hearing people saying, it's not AI that's going to put financial advisors out of business. It is probably more likely to be other financial advisors that are using AI as a differentiation tool, as a tool to save money. This really, really, really important. I think the most important thing is that however quickly or slowly you want to do this, I think financial advisors really need to start getting their head around what are the possibilities with it. And I think we're all looking initially at efficiency, productivity, all that good stuff as well. And I think an area that I'm really championing is that whatever size your business is that you have, for want of a better word, an AI champion or an AI advocate, someone in your business who is kind of responsible for really learning about this, finding out what sort of tools there are available, and reporting to you or to whoever in your business about what's actually going on so that we stay on top of it. Now, those of you that follow any AI newsletters will know only too well that there's something new seemingly every day of the week, literally every day of the week. And that in itself is a problem which we're going to try and work out. How do we get over the sort of the overwhelm that this is giving us? You might have noticed in Live Talk on Facebook, we run a little poll. To what extent are you currently using AI in any way, shape, or form in your business? And a good, healthy chunk of you are using AI. Equally, there's a fairly sizable chunk who are not using AI at all in any way, shape, or form. If you are in that bracket, that's absolutely fine. What I would urge, though, is that you start using AI from a personal point of view. Just play around with it. Get your chat GPT or your AI of choice and have a play around with it and just see what it can do. And then start thinking, okay, what ways could we use it in our business? What I'm seeing from talking to advisors, there are about 5 main concerns when it comes to AI. First of all, the overwhelm. We've got through this sort of first period where it's all very exciting, but we're now realizing, goodness me, there are so many tools that we could potentially use. What's interesting, and you're probably in a better position than I am to talk about this, is that most of them seem to be back office orientated, and that's fine. And the more we can do to make our back office processes more efficient, faster, easier, the better. But it's, which ones we do, and then we've got the question of which tools sync up with some of the main technology tools that we already know, use, and love. That's always been a problem in our industry, of course. Tech all syncing up. Data security and privacy is an issue, and that's absolutely fine. For those of you that are really worried, don't put client data into ChatGPT, although you can. There is a setting within ChatGPT, don't let your data get used by the wider AI community as well. But the main AI providers, certainly in our industry, are all working really hard on that. And I don't think data security and privacy is going to be quite the big issue that we perceive it to be just yet. Accuracy and reliability. We've heard about this concept of hallucinations where AI can make stuff up. It's getting better. It is making it, doing that far less these days, but you still have to be on your guard if you are using AI to, maybe you want to do a presentation or something like that. An example, I was asked to do a presentation to women in business group in London. They were all entrepreneurial ladies who building and scaling businesses. And I thought, part of the presentation, I'll start with some famous quotations from famous female entrepreneurs around the world. And I asked ChatGPT if it could find some quotes, and it came up with some absolutely wonderful quotes, none of which were actually real quotes. And when I said to ChatGPT, why have you given me fake quotes? It said, well, these are the sort of quotes that these women, these ladies might have made. So there is still hallucinations, but it's not quite as bad as it used to be. Other concerns IFAs are having is, how do we actually apply all this in our businesses? We hear it's a good idea. We hear that there's money to be saved. We hear that there are opportunities to be had, productivity gains to be had, but where do we actually apply it? And I think another question that's increasingly coming up is, okay, I seem to be starting up all kinds of subscriptions to different AI tools. Where's the ROI in this? So although AI has been with us a while now, we are still sort of scrabbling around a bit, trying to figure out where its best case use scenarios are. In terms of my own experience with AI, massive productivity boost. It was almost overnight in terms of how much work I can get through now. So that's the main thing. And if a one-person business like me can see massive productivity boosts across a financial advice business, I'm sure that there are all sorts of opportunities to be had there. Certainly, shiny object syndrome is an issue. As I said, there is something new that comes out seemingly every single day. And I think that the lesson there is to really try and get some focus around where you
No
see
problem,
yourself
Hyman. Thank you.
using
I'll take
AI
it.
going forward. We need to be quite, I certainly have found I need to be quite strategic about using it. So I'm thinking about, okay, the initiatives that I've got planned for next year and perhaps the year after, those are the things I need to be focusing on the prize rather than the tool or the toy that I'm playing with at any given moment in time. So I think a great discipline for all of us is going to be, well, what AI tools am I not going to use? And which ones am I going to kick into touch? I'm using it a lot for idea generation. Um, it's absolutely phenomenal. And one little prompt that I found is really useful is if you ask ChatGPT to think outside of the box, tell it about a problem or an issue or an opportunity that you have right now, and that you would like to investigate or solve as an issue, ask ChatGPT to think outside of the box, and it comes up with some really very clever ideas. I guess that's because it is generating new ideas, it is generating new content. That is what it does at its heart. I'm also finding ChatGPT and AI very good at finessing content. So my approach to writing articles and blogs and even parts of books and reports and white papers, I just kind of, what I now do is I just brain dump. If I'm thinking about, right, I want to write a blog about something, I'd literally just type it out, bash it down onto Word document or something like that. Doesn't matter about spelling, it doesn't, just get it down there, a proper brain dump. And then I'll go to ChatGPT and say, right, I've written this, tidy up and finesse it. And that's where I'm finding it a particularly useful tool right now. In terms of working with advisors and listening to advisors' feedback and looking to see what advisors are talking about in the AI group and in live talk as well, the overwhelm is very loud and clear as an issue. I think if you are starting to take AI seriously, is to really think about your team, and get them trained up, maybe yourself in terms of training in different aspects of AI. Um, Advisors are finding it quite good to get marketing stuff done. People like Matt, who I can see out the corner of my eye there, I've been banging on about marketing and marketing strategy and marketing tactics for IFAs for years and years and years. But I know for many advisors, a lot of that stuff goes straight over their head and they won't get these marketing things done because, for all the best reasons in the world, maybe they haven't got the time, the resource, to get these stuff done. And where I am seeing it working particularly well is getting marketing stuff done. Even things like writing press releases, things that you're doing in your business, sponsoring the local kids football team. Get AI to write a press release and bung that out there. And so that's a job which you perhaps ought to be doing but haven't done for all those reasons. But your AI can now do this as well. One other thing I'm seeing is because we can all see that there's real potential for AI in the business, maybe start thinking about conducting some sort of analysis of your business and looking for all the areas where you think you could be being more efficient. So conduct some sort of audit on your processes and then start applying some AI slowly, bit by bit, in terms of improving on those. I think we've got to think long term as well. So that's an issue for me when it comes to AI. Try and avoid the shiny objects and think more strategically and much more long term. So for an advisor, that might mean, okay, maybe we're thinking about moving into new markets. How could AI support us in that? To me, this is the big prize of AI for financial advisors, is the new business models that you can create, the new markets that you can reach, the ability to scale and create monthly recurring revenue at virtually no cost to you. And to me, this is the really big prize. Again, it's interesting looking in the live talk groups, a lot of talk about advisor fees, different ways of charging. And I think AI is really going to help us in that respect as well. I've put training purposes there, and I have no idea why I've put that. I can't remember, so I'm going to move on to the next one. Meeting transcripts are interesting. That I see a lot of talk about meeting transcripts. There's a lot of talk about the different tools that are available. Personally, I use Fireflies. works really, really well. But there are some things that I've spotted that a meeting transcript is great for putting on a file. It's great for being able to support some advice that you might have given if a client comes back to you in 5 years' time and says, "Oh, you never said anything about that," and we can go back to transcripts. But I think transcripts give us a wealth of opportunities. So just sort of working down, if you use AI transcripts of meetings, it gives you the opportunity to review your communication style and also review the client's communication style as well. So, for example, already Fireflies can measure a sentiment in a meeting, and it will give you a score for what was positive in a meeting, what wasn't so positive. So, for example, if you go back over a transcript of a meeting, you can actually look out for and ask your AI to highlight times where clients were maybe hesitating in their discussions with you, or maybe there was some concerns, or something like that. And that could be potentially really useful for training of advisors, particularly new advisors. You could perhaps do some role plays or real meetings with clients, transcribe those meetings, and then use the AI to highlight areas where perhaps the conversation wasn't quite firing, or maybe the advisor perhaps could have said something else or could have communicated a concept in a slightly different way. So we can look at language clarity as well, which is really, really powerful. And as I said, you can create personalized training for advisors based on real interactions that we've seen. And from that, you can identify best practice in communication. Any of you here sort of used to work for in direct sales and insurance companies, you know, we used to do an awful lot of role play. And our boss or whoever we were doing role play with said, "Well, you were good at that, you were crap at that," and so on and so forth. This is what you need to learn. I think all of us can learn more about communication style. And I think meeting transcripts are a real opportunity for us to analyze what we're doing well, what we're not doing so well, where clients perhaps haven't quite grasped something that we're saying. So real potential in there. But to me, the real big one is the opportunity to get more referrals as a result of using meeting transcripts. Now, we see quite a lot of referral training for advisors these days. I do it myself. And one of the key tricks to getting more referrals from existing clients is not just remembering to ask them, who do you know, or that kind of thing. But one of the key things is to be able to identify when a client is experiencing value during a meeting with you. Now, when you have a meeting with a client, and maybe you're presenting a financial plan, or maybe you're learning about them, whatever it is, your client's body language will be exhibiting a variety of different things. Sometimes they might be shaking their head and crossing their arms, which might give you a few clues as to how they're feeling. But equally, they may well be nodding their head and they may be saying, "Oh, yes, that's interesting," or "I hadn't realized that," or "Oh, that's a weight off my shoulder." A real trick to getting more referrals is to be able to notice when clients are experiencing value when you are communicating with them, and then to be able to pick up on those cues. And it's at those moments when you should be bringing up the idea that they might want to recommend other friends that they know who can also experience similar value. So when you use a transcript of a client meeting, you can actually go through those transcripts with a fine tooth comb, or you can even get an AI to do it for you to identify when a client has been experiencing value in a meeting with you. And then you can go over those transcripts and you can say, "Okay, well, what could I have said at that particular point that would have helped me to encourage them to make a referral?" So our meeting transcriptions, yep, we're using them. They're very useful. They help put an audit trail on the client's file, but I think we could be using them a lot more creatively in terms of what we can learn from them in terms of our communication style and the degree to which clients are actually experiencing value in our relationship with them. The final slide from me, I just wanted to put this. I'm already hearing from financial advisors who are telling me that they have picked up new clients because somebody found them in ChatGPT search results. So if somebody's and I did this morning. I typed financial planner in Guildford into Google, and the list on the left is what Google gave me. So chapters, that's Keith Churchhouse's came up top, Bramley Financial Planning, Guildford Financial, Evelyn, and Price Ferguson. I then went on to ChatGPT, which can now search the internet in real time. And the list on the right is similar but very different. And there are reasons why financial advisors will come up in AI search results as opposed to Google search results. If anybody would like a free guide on that, I'll be more than happy. It's got a few tips on what you need to do to make sure your website comes up in search results. So that's something to think about. So I'm going to come out of that now, and I just want to sort of open it up to a few people and just sort of talk about how you are finding and how you're experiencing AI. And any particular tools that you're using and any particular uses. Mike Legasic, I know you're a big fan of AI. Let's perhaps go over to you first. Just tell us your experiences. Is it all turning out to be a pain in the arse and a disappointment, or are you actually getting stuff done? And where do you see this all going?
Hi, Phil. I am embracing it because I think it's a huge boon to our practice and our businesses. There's going to be pains in the asses, as you say. The biggest pain in the ass that we're experiencing is not wishing to subscribe to 5 different bits of AI software that do similar things. I believe Ian McKenna, and it's no easy undertaking. I believe Ian McKenna and his team are putting together a matrix to show all the main providers of any advisory planner pal, and to show this they do this, they don't do that. They do that, they don't do this. Because that's the worry is you think, I want this one, but they don't do that. And I want that one, and they don't do this. So I would say as far as a pain point, that's the only pain point I'm saying we're experiencing. On the plus sides of how I'm certainly employing it and the practice as well, I guess, there's a few bits I want to discuss for you that I think are getting really good results, or I think they're really having an impact. So about 6 months ago, I moved from regular monthly newsletters to regular video blogs newsletters. I've been doing it for about 5 years. So with Consumer Duty and constant contact, I find that AI is helping me achieve that objective considerably. So with bits like video editing software and click in here, call to actions, utilizing AI with different tools has been greatly received by clients. They tend to like the visual content and what's in it. So that's one thing. The big one that I've discovered recently, and that was basically thanks to you and Justin Ping, was Google Notebook LM. No, that has absolutely blown my mind. I'm staggered at what this is doing, to be honest with you. Google Notebook LM. Effectively, you can upload a document, a PDF, a conversation, a cut and paste, and it turns it into what I describe around a coffee table discussion by 2 people that sound 100% lifelike, interpreting what you've written, but are discussing it like you discuss it down the pub. Now at the moment it's only an American accent, but that's fine. I can qualify that when I tell clients, and I do tell clients this is an AI interpretation of this. So my book I did recently, Mind Over Markets, I'm now uploading chapter by chapter and getting them to discuss the chapter in around the coffee table discussion, almost like my book's being discussed at a book.
Yeah. Oh, he's frozen there.
A few interesting things I've found is with Consumer Duty and so on and so forth. What I would strongly recommend you do is if you do your next, obviously take the client names out or any sensitive information, upload the content into ChatGPT and say, look, I'm a UK-based advisor. I adhere to the FCA rules and regulations, compliance, and Consumer Duty. Can you please interrogate this letter and tell me ways you feel I can improve it or things you think I might have missed? And like Bill says, you can also put in the nuances like, I'm dealing with a highly technical client here. I'm dealing with a client who's got little understanding. It will cater and adjust all the text specific to the type of client that you're dealing with, so it doesn't go under or over their head. Compliance reports. My mate Jason Mountjoy, we're thick as thieves, Phil, as you know that. Jason's like me. We're both going hell for leather on AI to try and see efficiencies and how we can improve it. But from a marketing point of view, generating content which is engaging and unique, and like you said, Phil, finessing stuff when you get a brain block and say, I'm trying to get this point across, but I just can't hit the sweet spot. ChatGPT does it in 5 seconds. I'll finish by saying I am amazed when we go on these network groups on Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups or whatever. I am still staggered, to be honest with you, that not as many IFAs are engaging with ChatGPT as I thought they would. I do see people putting out some sort of what I would consider a rudimentary question, and all I did is I took their question, chucked it into ChatGPT, and posted the reply and said, all you need to do is put this into ChatGPT and sense check it, and you've got all the information you need. So, we feel we can only see pluses to it. We don't see it taking away the human side. You've got to engage with it in a way that you know that your clients, it's though you're speaking to them.
Yeah. What you were saying about Notebook LM, if you've not used it, it is shockingly good. I mean, it's one of those. The first time you put some of your own content into it, whatever content that is, be it a blog or an article or a transcript of a webinar or something like you've done, and you turn it into this conversation between this woman and this guy, it is shockingly good. It's absolutely extraordinary. What I will do is I will take the transcript of this meeting today, and I will put it into Notebook LM and turn it into one of these, and I will send it to all of you so you can hear it. If you've not heard it before, it is really quite extraordinary. Mike, in terms of that's really interesting about what you were saying. I'm seeing a lot in Life Talk. People say, "Has anybody got a letter I could write to a professional connection?" ChatGPT just does that with its eyes shut. And I see people saying, "Has anybody got a presentation that I could use for a local company about pension changes?" And again, it can do that stuff. I think the real trick, I think, is to be as detailed as you possibly can be with your AI, whichever one you're using. And I think it's quite important, if you can, to try and stick with your AI of choice, because I know ChatGPT learns from what you do, and I've almost now got it down to it's like a personal assistant. It knows me, it understands me, it knows the sort of style I write in. And if you've not had a go with this, this little technique, if you use ChatGPT and you're using it a fair bit, go to it and say to it, please create an image of my life as you know me, from what you know of me, and it will create a picture. And I've done this, and it's just extraordinary. It seemed to have my office right. It had got the picture outside the window pretty well right as well. It had got the right things on my desk. I mean, it's all a bit wild, and I know it will scare quite a few people. But what I'm getting at is it is learning about each and every one of us. So we've each got access to a unique personal assistant now, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Another, you mentioned there about Mike, about saying I have a client who is cautious or whatever. Create a letter in this particular stuff. Another thing I found ChatGPT to be really good at is if you want to create an analogy for something, it is really good at analogies. So if you've perhaps got a complex financial concept that you want to get across to people, either as part of a presentation or a webinar or an article or even a client meeting, put that concept into ChatGPT and say, please create an analogy for this, and it is really good at that as well. Mike, sorry, yeah.
I was just going to say, I chucked in the other day, because my brain's a bit nuts at times, write me a sick note in the style of Jeremy Clarkson. All right. And that was ridiculous. Okay. I'm self-employed. I don't need a sick note, but I just came up with it. And then I said, write a sick note in the guise of H.P. Lovecraft. That was ridiculous. You would honestly think that was Jeremy Clarkson saying, I can't come in. Sarcasm, motoring references. I mean, it boggles how it does it. But go on, sorry, I was
I
interrupting
think didn't you last year, or after the last budget, not the most recent one, get the budget statement put out as a poem or something like that as well? I know somebody did. That was
Yeah,
extraordinary.
I did something like that. I just put in, I just gave it some prompts. Be sarcastic, mock the budget or pick holes in it or whatever. And it came up within about 15 seconds. In fact, I've just done one this morning. Now that Trump's got in again, I took some commentary. I basically cut and pasted commentary from leading economists from the US and the UK, just bite-sized chunks, and I put in with the overview of CNN, and I just pasted it all together and said for Google Notebook LM, do this, bang. And I was listening to the last 5 minutes when this started, and the overview of the conversation from a conversation piece is incredible. How it has dissected all that information in a conversational point of view. And you could easily send that out there. It's impartial. It just gives facts in a conversational sort of way.
Yeah. In terms of your business, Mike, and I'll throw this open to anybody else as well. I mean, you've gone all in. You're embracing it, which is great. You're seeing productivity, opportunities, time saving as well. Do you have any sense yet of where you see this going for your business, strategically? Yeah, it's a great tool. It's a bit like when the calculator first arrived. That's useful. That'll save us a bit of time. Do you see AI as just a tool now, or do you see bigger opportunities?
I can answer that one, Phil, if you
Yeah.
want, from a perspective of clarity. So we've got 52 advisors. A bit like Mike, we've gone hell bent into the AI. So we've been using ChatGPT and so on, but we've been looking more at off-the-shelf products specifically for financial services. So I think the main four: Saturn, Advisory AI, Aveni, or maybe five: Planner Pal and Temply. Unfortunately, our research, and I think Mike would probably share this, there isn't one out there that will do everything. It's always the holy grail. So we have tested them extensively. So we have gone for two. So we've gone for Saturn from a note perspective. And the reasons why we've done that, it gives us, as a firm level, an extra person in T&C, because it's got a T&C function built in. So we were looking at an additional T&C person. So we probably saved 40, 50 grand as a business by having that. And the efficiency on it is incredible, because every single one is repetitive with what it's picking up, what it's not picking up, and so on. We start our advisors on Planner Pal, and this is no disrespect to Planner Pal, but we liken that to a bit of a playpen that get people into it because it's a basic model, and then they'll try and transpose into Saturn. And we've recently signed up with Advisory AI from a power planner perspective. And it is one where it needs to work with the firm to understand the language and so on. But it's capable at the moment. So if you've got a centralized investment proposition, it can knock out a suitability letter in less than a minute, which is as good, if not better, than what a power planner can do. But it needs to learn for all the other types of arrangements. So if you're going away from a CIP, there isn't something out there at the moment that does that. But we've sold this to our advisors, that we believe that with this in mind, they can save 3 to 4 hours per client every year on this, and particularly for the review scenario. It's a game changer. I think the biggest challenge for everyone is actually just accepting it and embracing it.
Interesting.
So we've gone hell for leather on it.
How do these firms address the privacy and the data protection side of things?
Yes, so they've got all that sort of stuff built in when you accept and so on. So a lot of it just comes from the meeting. So it transcribes like Otter, but it's a financial services version that it will pull through the output for exactly as we want. You can tailor it, summary, overview, assets, liability, blah, 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 blah. And it's there, it's done. To the point where it's actually replaced our fact finds. So from a compliance perspective, they prefer this because it picks up all the soft facts, where traditionally our fact find is very data driven, black and white, and so on. So yeah, it's improved. And I will say one thing on Notebook LM, we've thrown cash flow at it. So we've been really testing this stuff. And as Mike was saying, from an audio perspective, it's brilliant. But when you're throwing a cash flow from a client who perhaps doesn't quite get visual or needs some more time to take on board, this summarizes, this is where you are, or this is the scenario A, this is scenario B, and what a difference. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Anybody else has got any experiences that they would like to share? Just unmute yourself and let's hear you.
Just before anyone chucks in, Phil, one thing I would say regarding the Holy Grail for, well, I think one of the Holy Grails is a verbal fact find. So a few of these companies, Aveni, and I think, well, there's a few of them. I know Aveni definitely are. From a security point of view, a lot of these companies only use UK-based servers, not abroad. That's one thing that people are more comfortable with. But they're working on they're testing it now, a verbal fact find. So you literally have a discussion with the client, and you, instead of having to capture that information or key it in or write it down, it will, on the fly, basically populate the fact find in like intelligent office. IO, they're one of the big ones. They're going for the big boys. So obviously, companies like IO that we happen to use, they reckon they will have it where the days of writing a fact find or typing it in will be gone, because it will literally, if you had your screen there, I'll be populating it as you talk to the client. As long as you get the information out of them, you don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Jason, are you getting any pushback at all from advisors, just out of interest?
Well, once they put down their quill and inkwell, yeah. So the key thing for us, we have had to continue demo, and we've had challenges, where it's not as good as my suitability. So we had a recent meeting. So they went off to do it lunchtime, and we pressed the button and proved that it can be done so much quicker. So the biggest challenge is accepting the change, and it can actually do it better than humans. I agree what Mike and you've said previously, Phil, that I don't think it will replace the interaction side of things, the human aspect, but it can do all the boring bits far better than we can. And we established how we presented this at the firm. We had many meetings with them all, and they all had the same problem: time. And it's great to do the bit in front of the clients, but they all hated the follow-up of having to type and do things, where embracing this has changed them.
Right. Okay, that's quite interesting.
We went, anybody from a firm, we went after the most Stone Age person to get him on board first. Once he was cracked, everyone felt, well, if he can do it, then it's a wave.
That's really interesting. So from your perspective, lots of exploring going on. Where do you see things in, say, a couple of years' time? Normally I've said 5 years' time, but that's ridiculous.
I mean, I agree with you that the pace of which this is going is incredible. The biggest challenge we had is me, as in there's something shiny over here, or we've set on something, and what about this one? So the suggestion I can say to everybody is you have to test these systems rigorously to make sure they work for your business. But we went with this, I think, from Aveni, talking about Aveni, great as that is, I think they're coming at it, this is my own personal opinion, I think they're coming at it from a wrong angle, because they're talking about all the compliance and the functions on, which is great from a firm, but it won't work unless there's adoption of the advisors. The advisors have to adopt first before it can filter through to the firm.
That's interesting. Okay. Looking at
where it can go.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so where it can go, we're testing this constantly, where we're getting, portfolios coming in and just, summarize, and it's incredible. But it's changing the role of admin and power planners, and I firmly believe if power planners don't buy into this, they're not going to be around much longer, because the volume of which you can go through compared to the old way of doing it.
Ian McKenna said that they need to change the skill set, so largely the power planning responsibilities and duties will be removed, because AI will do it 24 hours a day without having to take a tea break and be more efficient at it. and he's suggesting that paraplanners learn data mining. So a new skill set, so they need to stay within the practice and learn about data mining and identifying opportunities, which again, AI could do, it will, no doubt,
Hmm.
but I can see that making sense.
That's really interesting. Just looking out the corner of my eye, let's pick on someone else. Clive, I can see you up there. Are you guys Serenity using AI at all? You need to unmute yourself.
Mute.
Yep, there
Yeah.
you go.
Well, I'm listening to Mike and Jason, and I'm inspired completely. We're perhaps at the beginning of this journey. We are using transcription in our meetings. So some of our client meetings take place like this, and so we're using Tactic as a transcription tool. It's okay, but I too suffer from this shiny object syndrome, and just there's so much out there, you just don't know where to go next. We're aware of things like Saturn, Planet Pal. We're running a trial of that at the moment, but the nirvana for us is really to systemize and speed up the process, the advice confirmation process. And from what I've just heard today, that is perfectly possible. Our support team, we don't have paraplanners as such. We have a hybrid because we want our team to have a relationship with our clients. So we see that, and we've explained this to them, that their role is going to change, and that AI cannot replace a relationship with a client. And so we see that's the direction of travel for them. And for our business, we want to be able to systemize better the whole process from onboarding a client all the way through to completing annual reviews, and things like documenting our processes and policies. We've always wanted a kind of internal Wikipedia, and you can see it doing that now. It's already been explained.
Yeah. I think we're probably only limited by our own imaginations as to how we use this. And I think it's actually quite a difficult period this right now, because there are so many exciting things and opportunities, and we get all these light bulb moments going off. But we're going to get more providers coming in as well, doing something different. Somebody emailed me something about letters of authority. There's some AI tool that's going to help with that eternal problem as well. So there's always going to be something new. We'll see where it goes. Now, I've got a little poll here. I've never done a poll on a Zoom meeting before, so let's see if it works. I'm going to launch this poll. I'd love you all to give it a go. Oh, there we go. Hopefully something has come up.
We have more than one choice, Phil.
We're going for the main choice for now. We'll see. You can privately have more than one choice, but let's see what the main one is.
While that's being done, Phil, I'd recommend people go onto YouTube and search for the latest AI financial planning tools.
Yeah.
YouTube's always updated videos every day, because a lot of the stuff coming out of the States is pretty good as well. It might not necessarily translate to the UK, but I'm always going on YouTube and thinking latest AI tools for financial planners or latest financial AI tools, and subscribe to the Facebook and LinkedIn AI groups, because you're going to get so many companies showcasing what they do.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So a couple more to I think we're about there. So it looks like streamlining admin and workflow tasks, looking top of the list, enhancing marketing and client communications, and streamlining compliance and regulatory processes. I think once we get our ops managers and senior admin people really on board with this, they're just gonna love this in terms of compliance and what have you. Interesting. So not much on gaining insights and data or anything else, which is quite interesting. Sorry, were you going to say something there, Mike?
No. I was just looking at a point that someone's raised on there, that's all, about tools and that. No, yeah, I'll just reiterate that point though about just make it your business to go into YouTube and subscribe to the people that are doing this 24 hours a day. Or so I subscribe to some newsletters all about AI, and I get the latest tools being sent to me. They're not all financial planning, but they're AI tools in general. But one or two normally is to do with marketing or finance.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay, I've taken up quite a lot of your lunchtime. So you at least want to go out and stretch your legs or something like that. So we will probably call it a halt for today. This has been really useful for me just to get a sense for whether this particular format works at all. And hopefully we'll do another one, and maybe we'll introduce a theme. If anyone's got any feedback or any direction of travel that they would like us to go with this, AI is not going away. And so we really need to be on top of it. And in terms of overall use in our business, again, I think we're only limited by our own imaginations as to where we go with this. My own particular interest is, of course, the marketing side. I'm really fascinated by, of all the new tools and AI providers that are coming in, there is virtually nothing on outward facing from the business. It's all inward facing. That's fine. But I think in terms of client attraction, lead generation, marketing is still the number one topic in our live talk group. It's quite technical these days, but there's a lot around marketing and lead generation. So I'm looking forward to seeing anything shiny and exciting that can get our attention on there. So unless anybody's got any last minute questions, thanks very much for joining us today. Really, really appreciate it. I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of this as well. And we'll see you next time. So thanks a lot, everybody. Take care. Enjoy your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.